Um, so I read A Wish in the Dark, and it's the debut middle grade release of Christina Soontornvat. But I know she has a lot of books out recently. I mean, she's sort of debuting like with a bang. She has a book out about the Thai soccer player rescue. She also has a chapter book series. I think it's called The Ice Princesses, but it's really cute. It's about they're sort of like a wind princesses, and so so kudos to her just for having a lot of books out all at once in a variety of genres, and each one, at least the chapter books that I read, and this like incredibly well done. And so anyway, this I thought was pretty incredible. It's a fantasy middle grade book. It's set in it's sort of like set in Thailand ish, but of course, like fantasy, it's sort of like, a made up country, but it's definitely Thailand like. And it has kind of has all the drama of like a really, huge series like a Harry Potter or like a, or like a Percy Jackson. So because you have sort of magic, you have this really well built out fantasy world, and you have this battle, literally a battle between dark and light, and so basically you have the city Chatana, or maybe it is actually a country, and there's a great fire which kind of destroys the city, and then in order to prevent the city from being in danger of fire but still having light at night, there a new governor kind of rides into town, and he brings peace and order, but he also brings light in that he can control light, and he can it's almost like he can fuel these like kind of like light bulbs. He's the one who can provide the power that makes the light bright. And so there's various types of lights. Some are a set off heat that can be used for cooking. Some are like very powerful, and only the wealthy people can afford them. And some are very dim, and that's like for the poor people. And so there's definitely this class system in place, and it is literally defined not just by their socioeconomic status, but like literally by the light that shines at night, like in their homes, because it is an indicator of what they can afford. And then as part of this sort of social strata, almost like a caste system, there's prisoners. And so when the governor sort of rebuilt the city, the first thing he built was a prison, and that children of prisoners are also in special prisons until they reach a certain age, which I believe is 13, and then they're allowed to go free. But the understanding is that if you're a child of a prisoner, it's pretty clear the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and you'll end up in that prison as well at some point, because apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And so in this case, you have a young boy Pong, and then you have a daughter of the prison warden named Nok, who's like a fabulous kind of martial art fighter, and she's been training forever, and she's trying to sort of bring honor and prestige to her family through her fighting skills. And Pong is a child of a prisoner, and he is still a few years away from getting out. But then sort of on a whim almost, he escapes from prison, and now you have the daughter Nok, the daughter of the prison warden, because it's a great shame on her family that someone escaped from the prison, who's going to go after him and try to capture him and bring him back to prison. And in the meantime, when Pong escapes from prison, he ends up sort of away from the city in a rural part where he meets like a religious figure, um, kind of like kind of like a Dalai Lama type person, and he and where they don't use artificial light because they actually use fire, and he sort of gets pulled into a different direction in terms of morally and and also it's through that experience living as sort of like a Buddhist monk that he starts to understand his like the magic and powers that he has as well. And then there's a big confrontation at the end where all of them are back in the city with the governor, and there's some secrets about the governor that get revealed, as well as about Knock, the girl with the martial arts skills, and yeah, so it's sort of an epic story, and like I love how it's set in this fantasy world, but it's clearly an Asian kind of tie. But I think some of the themes go beyond like a Thailand like country, because to me like she's almost referencing caste system. And if you think about it, there's even if we don't have formal caste systems, they sort of exist everywhere, even in the United States, if you think of it as being defined by socioeconomic status and opportunities that are afforded based on socioeconomic status. But these are really compelling, interesting characters. You sort of root for most of them, and it's a story that builds and builds and builds. It's never boring. You're always wanting to turn a page, and the ending is completely so satisfying that I sort of read it multiple times just to keep reading the ending again. And I thought it was just like such a perfect story. So anyway, highly recommend it, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. It is, I think it's out March 2020 through Candlewick Press.